Welcome everybody to the smooth jazz sounds of Sean Connor. This is Rad Pod and Chill. My name is Heidi Kuda. I'm here with Jim Stewartson and High Fidelity. Get rid of that echo, hi-fi. I hear him, whatever. I'm so stoked to be here with you guys tonight. I'm so excited that we're going to be showing our friends who may not have seen episode 78 some highlights from our incredibly brilliant interview with the incredibly brilliant Nadine Smith from Equality, Florida. She is so amazing, and her group is right there on the front lines fighting DeSantis's authoritarian capture of their state, and they're really fighting back. So I'm super excited about that. The first thing, since today was just so much shite, I'm sure that you guys feel it. It's everywhere. It's just going to get worse. It'll be worse and worser as we hit 2024. I would like to just start with gratitude, because all of the Betty Dangerous community and much of the radicalized pod community took the time to listen to Hunter Biden's interview with Moby on MobiPod. And I'm getting so many people like reaching out saying thank you. Like they see now the human being behind the op to destroy him and thus destroy his father. So I just want to thank everybody who took the time. It was like a 90-minute interview, and part 1, part 2 drops this weekend. Because if we can put a little wrench in the spokes of this op, which is not unlike what happened to Hillary in 2016, if we can enlighten people to how these operations go, there's a chance that we can also diffuse it as they move on to the next thing. So, Jim, what do you got to say, man?
It's challenging when I was very upset to see that CBS News has an entire special with resident Kremlin propagandist Catherine Herridge about his 56-page, and she's highlighting sections, and she's comparing, well, when do we know he was on drugs versus when was he late on his taxes? It's like, listen, it's going to be fucking impossible for us to collectively come to our senses if we keep doing this. If we keep treating this like there's two sides here, that this is politics as usual, and Hunter Biden is just your normal political story from your normal political year.
Right.
It's not. No one has ever in the history of his state been charged for either that gun charge or that tax charge. Unique in the entire history of the state. That is clearly weaponized justice. In the meantime, all the people that we report on every fucking day for 15 hours a day, I am pounding on these fascists all day long.
Yes, you are.
And we are not. We get nothing from CBS about that. We get is Catherine Herridge looking at his fucking 56-page weaponized bullshit indictment that no one should give a damn about. Doesn't mean anything.
Right.
It doesn't mean anything to our collective understanding. All it does is takes us to civil war. And by the way, I want to talk about that because that is their latest. That is what they are trying to do. They are being very open about it, and it has gone to a different level that has gotten me, quite anxious. Let's put it that way.
I understand. Before you go on to that, Jim, I want to. Before you go on to that, I just want to remind people that CBS was run by somebody who famously said, Les Moonves, that the Trump campaign may not be good for America, but it's damn good for CBS. So if anybody thinks that corporate media gives a shit about what we are reporting on day in, day out, like, working ourselves to the frickin' bone to wake up America to what's happening, that we're a target nation of an information warfare, and that everything that we do fighting each other weakens us, and who benefits? It's certainly not America when we are gawking at the latest propaganda narrative. It weakens us. It's embarrassing that we haven't caught on by now. And I, once again, am thankful that people have taken the time, at least the people that we can reach, to get to know who this person is and get to see that the Russian war machine, along with traitors in America, are using him and his imperfections and his addiction to try to ensure that Trump or whatever avatar ultimately makes it replaces our president. And that's very dangerous. And unfortunately, even Democrats are getting sucked into this. I got a message today from somebody I love and respect who's like, what do you think about, Marianne Williamson and some of the other candidates? And I had to just gently say, we have a choice in 2024 between democracy continuing or fascism. And you know how I know that? Because I read Project 2025. They're telling us what they're going to do. And anybody taking votes away from Biden, should he be our candidate, and presumably he is, are marching us toward authoritarianism. And I can see you groaning, Jim, but it's like I get this stuff all day. And you know what else I get all day? People telling me, hey, my
What do
son
you mean
went
I'm
down.
groaning? What am I groaning at?
The Marianne Williamson.
Oh
I
yes,
can,
I was groaning
I,
about Marianne Williamson. Yes,
I can
yes.
just see the pain. I can just see the pain. Other people are like, what do you think of RFK? I'm like, well, let me explain to you what role he plays, but the thing that hurts me the most is that when I first met you, Jim, and I told you that as a news producer, I used to have to report on these extremists, and you're like, it's not like that now, Heidi. They're radicalizing them in the tens of millions. And every day I get 2 or 3 emails from people saying, my son has gone down a rabbit hole. My son bought a gun. My peaceful, kind, loving, democratic son has moved away and he won't have communication with me. My wife thinks, that I am blue anon. My children don't talk to me. I mean, the families are being fractured in large part because our president's not standing up and saying we're a target nation of an information war. Joe Biden, that would really help us. Your son, they're trying to destroy your son. So you know how awful this information war is. It's very important that we're not the only ones letting people know, because it's too big for us to be able to carry what's happening. High five.
I just want to issue a reminder to all those media companies. That there were media companies in Hungary that pushed for Viktor Orban and treated him just like American media companies treat Trump. And now they don't own their media companies anymore. Orban and his lackeys do.
That's a
So you
great
better
point.
think about that. But I want to go back to something you started at the beginning. You said you'd like to think about gratitude. And I was thinking about like things I'm grateful for. And I'm grateful for my mom because my mom puts up with me and I am not an easy child to have. But you know who else is probably grateful for their mom? Elon Musk.
I knew that's where you were going with this. High five. I knew it.
How ridiculous is this that his mom has to come out? The world's richest man needs defended by his mother.
Hey, listen. Every gangster has a mom who loves their, nice boy. Jim.
So many things.
Pick one. Let's go.
First of all, May Musk is a fucking Nazi. Sorry. Fucking white supremacists who grew up were birthed in apartheid.
Oh,
Sorry, but Elon Musk's mom's fucking Nazi. She's all into eugenics and all of that shit. You guys, like the fact that she's rolling in here, like not to mention the dad raised his stepdaughter from the age of 8 and then married her
I know it's bad.
as soon as she turned 18. So the projection, the vicious mirroring of themselves that they're doing right now is very, very disconcerting, to say the least. But I think the thing that has alarmed me the most is that they are very, very openly at this point creating a civil war narrative.
Yeah.
Now, it's not like that's the first time it's happened. There's lots of civil war narratives and shit. Oh my God, we're gonna have a civil war. But this one is very distressing because it's coming from the center of the beast.
Oh.
Elon Musk. So recently, most of you probably know, some of you may not. There was Alex Jones came back to the Twitter machine, the shitter machine or whatever the fuck it is, and there was a party for him in Twitter Spaces. There was Elon Musk and Alex Jones and Vivek Shoraswamy and fucking who am I thinking? Andrew Tate. So Andrew Tate and his brother Tristan were there, and Mike Flynn, who has a vast operation right now to save the children, to grift tons of money from people, and to radicalize them against his political enemies. Right?
Who might that be?
So he's got save the children. Human trafficking is the scourge of the earth. We got to go get to hunt the pedophiles, which happen to be in swing states. Right? Literally, he's setting up training sessions in swing states and churches so that people can go hunt pedophiles.
Oh my God.
They have these fucking LARPers. They have these guys who dress up in their military thing, like Basil Bosch, and I'm going to come teach you how to hunt pedophiles. And he's literally a TV actor. No shit. And he rolls in there and teaches you how to hunt for pedophiles. And then who shows up? Liz Crockett, the most batshit bonkers Pizzagate whack job on planet Earth, who Mike Flynn described as like his daughter the other day and retweets obsessively, who weaponizes child trafficking on a regular basis as if it is the most important thing in the world, and if you have any objections to the absolute dumb shittery that they're pushing, you're obviously a fucking pedo.
Right.
Now, in the meantime, Flynn is in this space with a who's who of racists and anti-Semites and propagandists pushing Andrew fucking Tate.
Yeah, that's
So
awkward.
what does Andrew Tate do? Forget about the fact that he is charged criminally in Romania with rape, human trafficking, and being the leader of a criminal gang.
Yeah.
Those are charges. If you have seen the video, you roll in there and it's just misogyny,
Yeah.
despicable, drug gun, disgusting, just abusive to its absolute core, right?
Right.
Forget about all that. What does he do every single day? He takes advantage of what are pejoratively called incels, but aggrieved young white men. Yes, he's gonna promise you to go on his fucking. You're gonna get yachts and you're gonna get my Bugattis like I got, whatever. But really, what he does, no shit, is he teaches men how to brainwash women into becoming their sex slaves. Let me be really clear about that. That is not a conspiracy theory. That he's got acronyms for it. He's got programs. He's got courses all about hoaxing, traumatizing, coercing women into either having sex with them or creating porn for him. And he does it, and he's got lots and lots of these testimonials of these guys who have preyed on women and started to run their own trafficking organizations, because that's the goal. That's what Tate did in Romania. You had hundreds of girls running in webcams being exploited every fucking day. And Mike Flynn is out here teaching people how to hunt pedophiles based on Hillary Clinton's aides' emails from 2016.
Hacked by the Russians, by the way.
Hacked by the Russians. On this side, and over here, he's literally pushing the same people towards how to human traffic people.
So
I just the
I don't know what to say.
It is really, really bad. Now, if it was just, I mean, stop there, right? If he was just doing that shit, but it has gone all the way to straight Nazism and open Civil War talk.
Wow.
So Flynn was on his best boy Clay Clark's show the other day saying, you know, when I was listening to Andrew Tate in that space the other day, and he said, you know what, it looks like Civil War, I thought to myself, well, that guy really knows something. I'm paraphrasing, but it was basically that. He was basically saying, Andrew Tate, that guy, he human traffics and rapes people. That guy is telling you to go to Civil War. So what you should do is go over there and get trained by him. I mean, this is mobilization.
That was my question.
And I'm sorry to go on, but I just need to emphasize this. It is mobilization of a large white supremacist, violent insurgency. They are mobilizing. Now, the thing that really, I expected this fully.
I know you
did. This has been in the cards for a long time, but I did not expect it this early. I did not expect it already. We have nearly a year. So what is concerning me, and again, I'm sorry to just sort of be blabbing here, but what is concerning me is that Mike Flynn for months has been talking about black swan events, talking about over and over again, are we going to have the 2024 elections? Right? So I look at something like Project 2025, which is mind-blowingly fucked up. And I think, I mean, is that just a fucking diversion out here? Are they trying to threaten us with that? Because it does not look to me like they plan on an election. At least there is a significant part of what used to be the Republican Party and is now a manufactured pro-Putin death cult. There's a part of it which really just is done. Has fucking had it and has been getting psyop for 6 years and wants the goddamn storm. And Mike Flynn is trying to give it to them. So again, I'm sorry. It has been several days of extremely sort of hardcore, warfare out there, because these people are not fucking around anymore. This is the center. Elon Musk was Alex Jones went from 700,000 followers to 1.5 million followers. Yeah. That is going to kill people. It's going to kill people. You got 750,000 more people listening to that sadistic motherfucker every single day. What's going to happen? Again, apologies. One just sort of data point and decision point that I think everybody needs to make. and this is just me, and I'm going to land my plane. I'm sorry.
Don't be sorry.
People need to decide if they're going to be on jitter. Either you need to know that this is really, really sick, hardcore warfare. We're behind enemy lines. It's no longer anything like it used to be. It is basically a war zone for psyops, and one side has a vast advantage because the guy at the top wants them to win. So I just wanted to emphasize the kind of seriousness I see out there. I don't want people getting hurt or more exposed to it than they need to be. If you don't need to be on there and you're looking for a place, go to Threads. It's getting better. Go to Mastodon. I don't give a shit. But don't be a casual participant in this thing, because the next year is not going to be about casual politics. It's going to be about something much, much darker than that.
Thank you.
That was a fucking quite a TED talk, but it's been really
Jim,
getting.
It is so important, and no need to apologize. You're in the suck all day, bringing us the information that reporters who actually get paid to do this work are not bothering to do for many reasons, which we've already delineated. But it's like we never should have divided information warfare from warfare, because what Jim is describing is war. These narratives, the conspiracies, all of it, the obvious contradiction between radicalizing people with one narrative, pushing another narrative. You would think that the followers would say that's kind of weird to be pushing somebody who's being prosecuted for human trafficking while crying about human trafficking. It doesn't matter. They, like Jim said, this is all about gathering forces. And I would like to remind people, when we talk about casualties of war, as Jim often reminds us, let's not forget having a Russian asset in the White House during COVID, which led to hundreds of thousands of unnecessary deaths in America. But let's just talk about how another Fox viewer pled guilty today to a felony charge related to his attack on the Capitol. Thank you, High Five, for flagging this story. His attorney said he had Fox mania. He said this 29-year-old Delaware man was hooked on Fox and started believing what was fed to him. And so we know from Murdoch's admission and the Tucker Carlson messages, which were revealed in the Dominion suit, that they knew they were pushing cynical lies. And we have another life destroyed by these cynical lives. And I don't know how many more, not to mention the brutality that the police officers, like our recent guest, Sergeant Gunnell, faced that day. But I'm not quite sure how many more casualties of this very real war we need, how much more evidence, how many more mass shootings we need from people who were radicalized by white grievance. And who is the king of white grievance in America? Why, Tucker Carlson, who was just interviewing Alex Jones. It's like, and also it's worth noting, in my opinion, that why would Elon Musk and Tucker Carlson be, basically not apologizing, but basically saying the feds were too hard on Douglas Mackey, the propagandist who interfered with the election and is now going to jail. Maybe it's because they've been doing it themselves, and maybe they don't like the fact that people are actually going to jail, federal prisons, for the fact that they knowingly spread lies about the election. So I think I don't know.
I wanted to there and be ready with the button. High five. So who is funding the Tucker Carlson network?
Oh, hi. Thanks for checking in. I'm still a piece of garbage.
Not actually.
One step up.
one step up from
Robert
him.
Mercer. Yep.
Robert Mercer,
Yeah.
Rebecca Mercer.
Yeah.
Mercer's one of the most damaging families on earth. They're up
Yeah,
there with the
of course.
Murdochs, the Kochs,
Yep.
in my opinion. Been laundering, allegedly, money for Putin for many years, and has been bankrolling Steve Bannon. They bankrolled Breitbart, if you recall, leading up
Cambridge
to
Analytica, Parler.
and Parler in 2019-20. So they tend to fund these things that are at the center of violent insurgencies, which is odd. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, in all seriousness, the Mercers are evil, fascists who want to destroy the fabric of the country, just like Peter Thiel, so that they can rebuild it in a more efficient way to feed them power and money. Like that's the whole idea. And so Robert Mercer is the guy, and Hat Tip Def behind the Tucker Carlson network, which is what is now, the new kid on the block. It's going to be the new central zone for what is now, by the way, if anybody's listened to Tucker Carlson,
It's
it
terrifying.
is not any different than InfoWars now.
Yeah.
It's really not. I mean, it is hard. Goes at all the to all the bad places. Straight up racist, white supremacist. Great replacement theory is real. Had Alex Jones on there in an interview saying that yes, this is Revelations. We're going into the end times, and it's time for civil war. And then Tucker said, and this is important. He said, there's a lot of thinkers out there who say that democracy always leads to authoritarianism.
That's seeding some nice Russian propaganda.
Well, it was not. It was that, and then he kept going on it. I mean, it was a long period of time where they were.
Wow.
And you're right, exactly. They're setting that strain, that seed,
parasitizing
poison underneath, where people are like, wait, maybe this democracy thing isn't all it's cracked up to be. And so they, that's been kind of going on for a while, right? It's not a democracy; it's a constitutional republic. They have all these ways of kind of mentally separating people from the fact that no, it's actually fucking democracy. Constitutional republic is a democracy. So they try and constantly remove you from that idea. It's just that now on the new Mercer-owned Tucker Carlson network, it appears to be the actual mission. The mission is to create a white supremacist, anti-American insurgency inside America in cooperation with people. And by the way, Mike Flynn and Tucker are close friends. Tucker Carlson, Alex Jones, and Elon Musk, who has just revealed himself to be a fucking Nazi. So last thing I wanted to say about Elon Musk is he finally just let it all hang out and said, the only thing that I am going to ban on Twitter is things that are illegal, that are high five.
High five.
What?
Literally, you can't.
Sorry, Jim.
You can't get banned, and he gets banned every
day. Every day. He's so awesome. I love you, man.
So the only rule is illegal, which is, by the way, is the same rule as 8chan.
Mm-hmm.
It's important. He turned it into 8chan. He basically 8chan is you can create your own forum, your own board with any topic you want, with no moderation at all. The only time they'll ever do anything is if law enforcement tells them to, right? So it's a den of absolute horror, and has been for 8 years, 9. And Elmo basically said the other day, okay, we're 8chan now. You can do anything the fuck you want, but what you can't do is de-anonymize stalkers. You can't find a fucking Nazi who's out there spreading horrific memes of Holocaust denial and track them down and or whatever, because if you identify them, you're gonna get banned. That's the only rule, and that is also the only rule on 8chan. The way that the chans work, the way that 4chan and 8chan, and Hi-Fi, correct me if I'm wrong, the whole essence of it is they are based on anons. They are based on being anonymous. That's why QAnon is anon, is because they're supposed to be hidden behind a fake identity. So all of this is to say Hi-Fi was right a long time ago.
Yes, he was.
A $44 billion PSYOPs cannon, which is now just being clearly painted in Nazi colors.
Yeah.
That's just where we're at.
They're not hiding any of it. I do want to point out. I do. Go ahead, Hi-Fi. Jump in.
This is important because today, this fucking apartheid Nazi boy, whose mommy had to come save him today, he's talking about opening a university in Austin. If you can't brainwash enough Nazis, you just got to learn them up, right? And people are like, what the hell are you talking about, Hi-Fi? Well, I would also like to point out that Joe Lonsdale, who I've also identified as another fucking problem in the L. Linwood network, also has a university in Austin. So, yeah, I think people may want to take a real long, hard look at those two institutions.
I mean, can I point out that Peter Thiel has another institution, institution which is devoted to taking promising, bright people out of college to go do Peter Thiel startups instead. Literally, he sees somebody in college that he likes, he's taking them out of the system on purpose and wrapping them into whatever like fucking weird project he has in his head. So you've got the Founders Fund, and you've got Y Combinator was wrapped into all this shit for a while. It's a whole system for pulling youth out of potentially powerful and lucrative positions and warping them to be Peter Thiel bots. And to them, it may feel all along like this is super successful. Look at me, I'm like a rocket ship. In the meantime, they're just being bred, right? They plucked from the sort of birth canal of adulthood and taken and kidnapped into some other fucking weird shit, right? That's all this is. That's all Elmo's doing. He wants to create his own little apartheid in Texas, right? He loves him some Texas because of taxes. He don't like the taxes. That's why he likes Texas. So he's building a whole fucking thing down there, a little university of apartheid.
Meanwhile, my friends in Austin are leaving because he's destroying it, much in the same way they destroyed the Bay Area. So
they rolled in there. They're like, oh, Austin's weird, huh?
Yeah.
I don't like Austin weird. Let's unweird it.
Make it creepier. Three things I got to say. One is I have multiple friends from South Africa who are not racist and grew up during apartheid, so that's a choice. And clearly, what Jim is delineating is a choice was made, and we've been over that evidence a million times. But I just wanted to throw that out there. The second thing, Jim.
Not all South Africans are racist, but all people who willingly participated in apartheid.
Well, which is part of the lineage that you've discussed before. So, but I do want to say that if he's talking about, everything goes unless it's criminal, well, I'm going to refer everybody to my recent interview with Dr. Stephen Hassan, the cult expert, freedomofmind.com. There's no such thing as absolute free speech. The law says if there's no fire, you can't yell fire in a crowded theater. Why? Because it will hurt people. People will get injured or die. telling people that the election was stolen and having a riot. How is that different? Now, we reported over the weekend, I think, that, or at least certainly in recent days, that, Germany is dealing with its Russian spies at the moment. Germany is also prosecuting people who tried to overthrow their democracy, who don't recognize the German state, who believe in some deep state. So they're actually prosecuting 27 people who tried to overthrow the country. Meanwhile, Roger Stone made an entire movie about who tried to overthrow the country on Jan 6 and who orchestrated that. And Roger Stone is still free to go on whatever radicalization network he can, along with his colleagues who also tried to overthrow our country on January 6th. So, yesterday in your Twitter spaces, somebody was saying, oh, I think they're working on it. No, it's been 3 years. We don't see the high level people, and we're not talking about Trump, and we're not talking about Giuliani. We all know exactly who we're talking about. The architects of the insurrection are still walking free to radicalize people, which is why they're working overtime to do so. But here's where I will land my plane. We were talking about education. What did we learn in episode 78 of RadPod? We learned that Ron DeSantis has been removing the perfectly qualified heads of various public universities and installing his cronies, paying them 3 times more. And they're like of the Hillsdale College ilk. That's what's going on. And what else did we learn? That the Moms for Liberty scandal, co-founders Moms for Liberty, tied up in this threesome sex scandal and also accusations of sexual assault, very serious stuff. Who are they best friends with? Why? Ron DeSantis, the governor of the beautiful state of Florida. So why don't we go to a clip from Nadine Smith if we have one? Because I want to make sure that our viewers who have not yet seen EP 78 get to hear from Nadine. We have a few clips from her, and thousands of people watch the live stream. So this is an opportunity for people to hear what's going on in the front lines in Florida.
You're absolutely right. Whenever you find these people who have sort of dedicated their lives to attacking the LGBTQ community, or putting themselves forward as these avatars of extremist ideologies, it's never a surprise when they and their skeletons come tumbling out of the closet. And we see it time and time again. You can almost set your watch by it. This time it is Bridget Ziegler and Christian Ziegler who are caught up in a salacious sex scandal and possible criminal charges for him. And, our position from the beginning is that the justice system is going to deal with the criminality, those charges. That's not our role. But we don't need a court to tell us the harm that they have inflicted. And I think one of the things that has been unmasked in this is the completely fraudulent nature of Moms for Liberty. To be crystal clear, this is not a group that rose organically out of concerns for moms, in what was happening in schools. Everyone should understand that this was cooked up by Christian Ziegler, the head of the Florida Republican Party, who has said for years, we are losing white suburban moms who are empathetic around police violence, who are inclusive around LGBTQ issues, and they were looking for a strategy that could turn those moms into weapons they needed to dismantle public education and divert money into the very lucrative, voucher programs and charter school, private school programs that they run. And I say all that to say, if you go through the timeline, you see them alternately taking credit for launching Moms for Liberty and then trying to hide their hands when it becomes too obvious that this was a cooked up political strategy by Christian Ziegler and Bridget Ziegler to mobilize, to lure suburban white moms into the MAGA GOP universe. And so as this scandal unfolds, the hypocrisy behind it It's not a bug, it's a feature. I mean, every single time it takes these kind of fraudulent people, they were liars and frauds from the very beginning, and they have used this not just to dismantle K through 12, but to go after the university systems as well.
She goes on to remind people of the close relationship they have with Ron DeSantis. The woman she was referring to, Bridget Ziegler, was appointed to Ron's board that basically was going after Disney when Disney was defending its employees. And so it's not like it's not very, 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 very tied to the DeSantis crew. So I think that's one of the most important things. And we'll talk a little bit more about that. But you heard what she was saying about public education and what a cynical plot this is and the cruel hypocrisy. This is a group that goes after the gay community, hurts the families, bans books that are like some of the best, most brilliant books ever written, and the co-founders in a gay relationship, a gay three-way. It's not surprising to us, but it is the harms that are caused by these cynical schemes. Jim?
So I just want to say, first of all, Nadine is one of the people in the world that gives me hope for all of us, right? She's just a natural leader and brilliant, and like I would follow. She's one of the few, and it's only there's no men that I can think of that I would do this for, but there's a few women I would just like fucking, follow into battle no matter what it was.
Yeah.
And Nadine is one of them. She is just metal. At the same time as being completely, absolutely right about all the stuff that she's focused on, and why and why to focus on it. So we talked about also a guy named Chris Rufo, who's this fucking bastard who's at this thing called the Manhattan Institute that's been run in New York City 50 years. It was founded by Reagan CIA director Bill Casey in the 80s, and produced things like the Bell Curve, produced welfare queens, produced CRT, produced broken windows, which led to all kinds of unlawful search and seizure for decades, and has been doing business with Palantir and all the rest of it. So we're it just continues to sort of unfold this nest of the same people doing the same shit all over again, right?
Yeah, right. And unfortunately, it takes little teams like us and the work of Nadine Smith, who's the executive director of Equality Florida, and they are swamped with people calling them needing help for their.
They want more swamps. They want more people. Call them up.
Yeah, they do. They do. Help them out. But unfortunately,
from Florida.
It's little teams like us, the work of the activists on the ground that are actually connecting the work of Ann Nelson, Brent Allpress, that are actually connecting the bigger story. And I have a story running tomorrow in Byline that looks at Project 2025, and Brent Allpress mapped it out, and he found CNP leadership all throughout it. You want to talk about another cynical plot? Council for National Policy always assigns one of their groups. This time it's Heritage. And this is a cynical CNP-driven plot. And believe me, when they tell you what they're going to do, believe it. And Jim says, maybe this is, they do it all. They've got, a think tank over here, somebody over here, a politician over here, a captured Congress over here, and they're throwing everything at it. And we're going to do our damnedest to continue to stay on top of it. Hi-fi.
Let's not forget that Heritage Foundation also gets money from Donors Trust, which two of their largest donors are Robert Mercer and Peter Thiel, right? But I will say,
Where's the button?
Where's
Jesus.
the button?
Fuck,
no,
man.
no. I'm going somewhere else. I'm going somewhere else with this.
I'm kind of
Because-
disappointed.
I like the
I know
casual
you are.
one. All right, go.
The casual slide. No, not right now.
Okay.
No, now you got me all fucked up.
Sorry,
Anyway,
sorry. I didn't mean-
you know who's not talking shit is this guy.
Oh man, I almost forgot about him. He's so sad. That he's talking shit, but then he's not talking in court, you know. He says he's going to do this. No, he is so harmful. He has earned his place, his circle in hell, his lower rung, because what he did to Shay and her mom. I mean, it's like so awful. But yes, go ahead.
Well,
go ahead.
Go ahead.
Sorry.
All right.
I was just going to
Well,
say, Rudy Giuliani is a fucking racist son of a bitch who was part, by the way, of the Manhattan Institute since the mid '80s.
Ugh.
So,
Wow.
so Charles
Wow.
Murray,
So
the guy who wrote
cynical.
the Bell Curve, was given tens of thousands of dollars to write the Bell Curve and to write racist shit like Welfare Queens in the '80s, and they started getting success. And guess who rolled in? Fucking Rudy.
Wow.
While he was mayor twice, was a full member of this and no shit, like it's a psyop. That's all it is. All it does is push out narratives to damage whatever the target is, right? So Black people, education. There is a 2010 debate with Charles Murray, the Bell Curve, and Peter Thiel on one side of the argument, and then some libs, I don't even remember who, on the other side of the argument. So you had the guy who
Alan
argued
Combs. Alan Combs.
Probably, yeah. You had the guy who who helped to cement the neo-eugenics idea of scientific racism into the American population. Everybody is sort of the fucking bell curve.
Yeah.
It's the same operation that did that, did CRT, did the grooming panic. Yeah. And now, circling back, Chris Rufo is on the board of the new school in Florida where Nadine is.
Yeah, it's terrible.
Just completely took this really, really nice, school that's been there for a long time, expanding. It's got lots of sort of progressive and interesting liberal shit or whatever. And he was like, nah, we're going to get rid of all this shit. We're going to put in Chris Rufo, whose job is to invent racist, fascist, traumatic propaganda that's designed to subvert democracy. It's fucking weird days, man.
So on that point, though, because we are the team that does this. Just to be clear, we're the team. Just to be clear, the biggest welfare queens are Elon Musk and people like Fred Trump and Donald Trump. To be clear, they made their they made their money, such as it is, on being corporate welfare bums. Let's just I'm using their jargon.
Yeah, I think you hit on something that's really important. That
hypocrisy.
Elon Musk being a welfare queen. Our government gives one person more money than any one person on earth. Who's that?
Who that?
Fucking Musk. Who do they give billions of dollars to?
Scheiße.
That we've just been talking about, to suck in all of your personal, medical, financial information so that it can be cooked up in some Cambridge Analytica AI monstrosity and be fucking weaponized.
That ain't good.
Oh, hi. Thanks for checking in. I'm still a piece of garbage.
That's the way to do it, Hi-Fi.
Fucking 10 out of 10, bro. That was great.
Yeah. Stuck the landing. Hey.
Sorry.
I hope we still have 2 clips from Nadine. There's a short one that I'd love to run next. Clip number 2. Do we have that, or do we just have, what do we have left?
Let me show you.
So it's
Yeah.
not surprising to me to see his poll numbers cratering
Ron DeSantis.
nationwide. The more people see him, the further he sinks into the polls. I think he's underwater here in Florida as well, because people see what a cynical, I said to somebody, wow, we've got 2 narcissists running for president out of Florida. And they said, no, Trump's the narcissist, but DeSantis is a sociopath.
Keep in mind, that's the executive director of Equality Florida. She has been in the suck dealing with the authoritarian capture that is going on in the beautiful state of Florida. And we have many friends from Florida. They don't like it. They don't like what's going on there. They're actually challenging the Moms for Liberty, which is so great. These women are in a cult, a cynical one built, an operation built, cooked up, as Jim was saying, by the Rufos and the CNPs of the world. And so this is what happens when they're challenged at school board meetings. They
Cooked
will.
up by the way, cooked up by who? By Moms for Liberty.
Okay. Okay. Yes.
Like, just, you know what I mean?
Yes.
Like
Yes.
the whole thing. It's going to be, I think, when people start to unfold like the level of hypocrisy. Like, it's not just hypocrisy. And Patrick Burns said something like this once that was like, oh, you know what you're doing, which is to set up a mirror world, to set up a twin. He called it twinning. Where you set up a twin of the world over here, and you just flip different characters upside down. You flip different stories around so that you get pockets of people in the overall body politic angry at each other and want super mad. And that's why Elmo has made all of that stuff easy and free, and now Kanye West is back so that we can see his next Hitler album.
Yeah. So I want to say that you know that I write a series called American Monster, and I wrote 11, and right before this aired, I pressed send on number 12, and I'm really intentional about the order of everything, and 12 was Tucker Carlson. And I was thinking of what Hunter Biden said about hurt people. And this guy must be hurting somewhere. Something went awry. But he's really big in Russia. And his show is, simulcast in Russia. And they cheer everything that he says, much in the same way that Alex Jones is cheered. But when I realized that a Spaces was getting together and half the monsters in my series were in that space, it's like I always know how serious this is because I work with Hi-Fi and Jim, who are in the suck bringing us this news. Everybody else is, a little afraid to go into the channels where they go. But if it wasn't for them, we wouldn't know so much of what we know. And I'm very grateful. But
the thing about that particular thing is that I wasn't like a little channel. I was 5 million fucking people watching simultaneously to those fucking people, like talking about great replacement theory.
It's unbelievable.
Pushing all the bad things. What's his face? General fucking Nazi literally pushing Jewish conspiracy theories to millions of people. We're going to have an intellectual debate between us and the Jews. I mean, he doesn't use the words yet, but I mean, he has. He's starting to use them. But it's globalists.
We talked about this,
the
though.
Socialists, it's the communists, it's the Marxists, it's the cultural Marxists. They're all code words, and it all comes back around to Protocols of the Elders of Zion, blood libel. It's all the same fucking lie. Oh, and by the way, if you didn't know, you can buy kids now on Etsy.
Oh yeah, I saw that you were taking on
that.
that.
Kids on Etsy, because this account, it's almost too dumb. But check it out. This account called Nicole 1776, except the C was a Q. So Nicole 1776 got together with their friends and thought, shit, what if they're selling kids on Etsy? And so they ran around Etsy, which is massive, zillions of fucking things. God knows what's on that shit. So they found some things where it was like a picture of pizza that somebody was selling for $50,000, which is fucking weird, and who knows why that is. There was one case, by the way, where it was like, oh, this is in Korea. That's in won. That means that is $7, not $9,000. But and by the way, that was debunked in 2020. But it doesn't matter.
Wow, it doesn't matter.
But here, it doesn't matter, because when Nikuo comes up with this bullshit about Etsy, Liz Crokin, the next level up in the program, grabs that shit.
Yeah.
Oh, look at Etsy. We're gonna have a whole new thing about Etsy. And so she starts making shit up, and then turns it into the new Wayfair. If you didn't know, you can also buy kids on Wayfair. You can't.
So,
anyway, but wait, there's more. Last one. I will land my plane. Then at the top of the fucking heap, the guy who's in the space with Alex Jones and Tucker Carlson and all these motherfuckers, Mike Flynn, is like, Etsy, I'm so mad at you. You've obviously got all these kids that you're selling on your platform. What are you going to do about it? A retired general that you and me, or the Americans at least, are paying every fucking month to go out there and spread that shit, to tell people that next to macrame plant holders on fucking Etsy, you can buy kids. That's what they want you to think. You can buy a soap dish. You can buy a doggy bed.
What's it going to take, Jim? What's it going to take, Jim? What's it going to take? What's it going to take to stop this poison, as Dr. Hassan said, leading to real life violence? I just want to reiterate, hi-fi. A 29-year-old man was hooked on Fox and believed what was fed to him, now going to prison because he had Fox mania. And we talk about this all the time. They can't yes, they're repurposing all the old narratives, but they're so unmasked and so uncloaked at this point because they are addicting people to this outrage, the white grievance, the othering, the mythic past, victimhood, all the shit that we learned about from Jason Stanley and we learn about from people like Ruth. And they have to ratchet up the poison to keep people more and more hooked and more addicted. And why is that? What did we learn about the people who showed up on January 6th? The pleading mothers whose sons are going away for many years, who said they were addicted to Fox. They were addicted to these QAnon videos. They were addicted to people like Tucker Carlson. They were addicted to InfoWars. They were addicted to Rush Limbaugh. Like they were not in their right mind. And Dr. Hassan said the real person's still there, but they've been brainwashed, and you don't have to take them to a compound anymore. All they need is one of these now. So I'm just saying, like, heed Jim's warnings. And I hope and pray that we will see the high level of arrest that we so need to arrest this information war, which is war. But I don't know that it's forthcoming. I don't know. Hi-fi.
So, you want to see the problem solved, and I too would like to see the problem solved, but I have a different strategy. I would like to remind everyone that there are victims of this stuff.
Right.
There are people that are hurt. And even more importantly, there are companies that are hurt. You'll notice that Wayfair, right, is an online furniture store. And now they're doing Etsy. Why are they targeting online platforms? It just seems very odd to me that they continue to wage not only psychological warfare against the American population, but economic warfare against, like brands almost. And now that we've
Well,
unmasked this network doing it, why aren't the brands stepping the fuck up and suing these people?
Well, Disney is. I mean, Disney was like ground zero in Florida, and they fought back on behalf of their employees and they stood up to it. So, they're building their campus somewhere else. I will say that I think also what did we learn from Nadine? Once people are onto it and they see more people mobilizing, there are books now back in schools. They got rid of some of the and by the way, the woman in the crosshairs of this three-way, co-founder of Moms for Liberty, she's on the Sarasota school board. And Nadine says the people of Sarasota, which is where Jim is being sued out of, by the way, are on to what's going on. So we're going to see a lot of smoke and mirrors, and we're going to keep our eye on it. But unless you guys have something else to say, I think we should give Nadine the last word. Do you have the third clip? I hope you do. Hi-Fi, it's important. Our audience is global. The news cycle is continually flooded. How do we take this moment, this true scandal revealing this cruel hypocrisy, and make it work for democracy?
I think call them out, keep calling them out, support the work at the front line. Florida is not an outlier. It is a harbinger. This is the lab where they're cooking up every single thing they can think of. But believe me, California, there are school districts in California where the same laws, where they're taking the life and times of Rosa Parks and chanting CRT to take Black authors and people of color authors out of the schools at the same time that they're erasing the existence of LGBTQ people. Those same people are taking this state by state, county by county, school district by school district. So be vigilant where you are. But at the end of the day, you've got to call it out. I spoke at Howard University just a couple of weeks ago, and one of the last, after the speaking, they did questions, and one of the last speakers was a white guy from West Palm Beach. And he stood up and he said, if 5 years ago you had told me that I would be at Howard University at a symposium put together by the author of 1619, and that I would be standing here trying to find a way to make amends, I would have laughed until I hurt myself. He said, I was not just a Trump DeSantis supporter, I was full MAGA. And the reason that he stood up was somebody said, what do you do with the people who are sort of wrapped up in the cult-ish ideology of MAGA? And I was saying, you got to leave the door open. You've got to leave the door open, and you've got to continue to engage. And don't think that people are stupid. Understand that they're fearful, and that everything that they are being told is reinforcing that fear. But they're going to come to crossroads again and again. And he said, that's exactly what happened for me. The first time I minimized it, even though I was uncomfortable, I kept going. The next time he said I couldn't minimize it, but then I said, well, on balance, even though I don't agree with this, on balance, I think more good is coming from me being part of this than not. And then finally he got to a place where he said, this whole thing is a lie, and I feel foolish. And he said, there are a lot of people who are leaving, but they don't do so publicly. One, because they get trolled, attacked, stalked, hounded, and they've severed their ties with their previous world, and their whole world revolves around MAGA now. And so for them to step away is to say, I'm going to be in isolation. I'm going to be cut off.